Hi, meet Josh. He's really ambitious, and his job is to put together business cases and proposals to get approved and then delivered. Unfortunately, he's not very good at this, and he really struggles to get them approved. And in fact, when they are approved and he helps with delivery, then they often disappoint stakeholders. And Josh has just had his performance review, and it's not come out very well. Unfortunately, his lack of success of getting his proposals approved is being noticed, and people have started to talk about him, and he worries about his job. Now, he knows he really needs to do something about this and has got very little time to do it. He's also heard that the company is not doing so well, and so he wants to improve. So what does he do? Well, he decides to do some research, to speak to some other people about the issue as well, because he doesn't know if it's just him or if there's something else here going on. Now, he talked to 10 of his colleagues, and he found that they're also struggling, and there's a lot of things that they're affected by as well. So it's not just him. They experience funding being refused. Proposals they put forward, they don't always get the funding they need, so they can't do everything that's expected of them. There's also, they're met with some confusion and questions and challenge when they put their proposals forward, their business cases. I don't understand why we're doing this. So what? What if we didn't do this? There's also confusion about the strategic impact of each proposal. That's questioned, which are the important priorities in terms of moving the organisation forward and which are the less so. There's also a general feeling about a lack of confidence that decision makers have, and a lot of challenge around, for what we're going to spend, is this going to deliver enough value? And this also knocks the confidence of the people putting these proposals forward, but also the confidence that people like decision makers have in them. And there's also concern that the expectations around what's going to be delivered from a proposal is not really true. There's a feeling that actually in the future this is going to come back and haunt them. There's also a set of frustrations that they have, that the people they work with have, that when things don't get approved or not enough funding comes through, that they're feeling that you should have done a better job. Now, there are more things, but these 8 really summarise the key ones that everybody felt strongly about. Now, Josh would admit that he's pretty relieved when he heard all this, because he thought it's not just him, it is other people. But he did think there must be a way to improve this. We must and need to get better. So then he asked around the main causes of the issues, and these 8 came out as the main ones. First of all, there was a challenge around, look, there's benefits missing. We expected certain benefits to be included here, and they're not. We also expected certain changes, because surely you need to do more than you've proposed to get the benefits we expect. And a general feeling around the logic being missing. Okay, how do these changes actually deliver and contribute to those benefits? You're saying we're going to do these 10 things, for example. Now, how are they going to result in reduced cost or increased profit? I don't see the connections here. Sometimes, and especially if you weren't sure about the benefits, you'd put quite a lot of information in just to try and fill up the pages. And that overwhelmed people, gave them too much, they didn't read it, therefore they didn't understand. Likewise, sometimes the benefit information was very scant. There was hardly anything there. It was missing the context, they didn't understand why this was being proposed, and they didn't understand the detail enough to give them confidence. Sometimes information wasn't clear either, and that caused confusion. And this confusion meant that different people had different expectations of what the benefits were. There was no consensus. Importantly, there was generally a lack of being able to explain how a business case and a proposal was going to move the organisation forward in terms of its impact. Now, the decision makers came from all across the organisation, and sometimes they knew that their area hadn't been consulted about the benefits when actually it was for them. So just this lack of confidence in actually you haven't spoken to any of us, how would you know, came through from the decision makers. So after gathering this information together, Josh stepped back and went, wow, no wonder a lot of business cases don't get approved. Surely this is really essential information. Josh then plucked up enough courage to actually go through his past proposals. And looking through them, yeah, there were benefits missing. Yeah, the changes weren't all clear. There was a lack of logic. Sometimes there was lots of waffle, too much information, trying to hide benefits, sometimes very little. Often it was unclear about the benefits. Alignment to strategy, again, missing. And often they were done very quickly and they didn't involve or consult all the people that should have been. Wow, thought Josh, this is really bad. This really confirms my fears about why people think of me the way they do. I really have to do something about this. So he was really forced into action because he really had to help himself, but also he connected to those people that he spoke to and really felt their pain. Now, not feeling very well, he decides to go to the project management office, the PMO, and talk to the head of PMO, Vikki. Josh shared with Vikki all his findings to get her opinion. She said, well, actually, it's worse because if you've got a reputation for getting your proposals approved, then you tend to have some sort of halo effect. People who get approved once, twice, 3 times tend to get much easier ride through next time they go. So Josh reflected a moment and went, whoa, this is bad for me. I can't see me turning this around. Then Vikki said, look, I'm going to share something with you. Don't share it widely. The company's at risk because we've had some quite major programs fail. They've cost a lot of money. We really needed the value from them and they've not delivered. With this, Josh just went, crikey, this is really bad. So after his meeting with Vikki, he felt even worse and he decided to write down what was needed. And he just wrote one sentence. Decision makers, they need clear information and logic. And he had 8 points already. So he just sort of tweaked them and went, right, whatever I do in the future, I need to show the benefits. All the key ones that are expected by the decision makers, the ones that the stakeholders in the business need. I need to have all the changes in there, all of them that are needed to deliver those benefits. And I need to show that logically, how by doing these changes, the benefits will flow. And I need to keep it tight. I can't put too much in. I just need the right amount of information so the benefits are understood, the context behind them in terms of strategy and why we're doing this, the certain objectives. And I need to give just enough detail to give people confidence. Now all this as well needs to be very clear so there's no doubt. Nobody can question or say they misunderstood. And also how it drives strategic success. That needs to be in the business case and the proposal as well. So the decision makers need to be in no doubt how this will make a strategic impact. And lastly, I really need to get out there. I need to really engage with people and create these collaboratively. So with this in mind, Josh sets off. He starts looking around and he realizes that actually if something is going to be succinct, maybe he needs some sort of picture, something that's engaging, something that will help people with those 8 points. Back at his desk, he finds something. He's looking at business cases, proposals, the sorts of challenges, and benefit maps keeps coming up in his search. Okay, so this seems like a worthwhile thing to find out more about. So he does. He finds more and more about it. He goes through a course on them, and he likes what he learns, and he decides to have a go at creating one. Josh and a friend went through the different mapping styles and decided to have a go first of all with 5 areas or 5 columns. One with goals in from the organisation, and if I add those in, so the organisational goals were around planet, people, efficiency and profit. Then they wanted to pick out the objectives of the programme they were working on, that they'd both worked on together, and so they added those in. And with these, they could then see how these objectives contributed to the goals. So to be cost effective, that objective linked to both efficiency and profit. So that was a contributor. Next, what they did is they went through all the documentation, they had some discussions. They went through and added in some benefits and decided to, first of all, not add any links in, but they added in the strategic benefits that they felt was important if the objectives were going to be achieved. And then once they had those, they started to put in some supporting benefits as well. Now, after a while, they also went, okay, well, we know there's going to be some key initiatives, so let's add those in as well. So these are the changes, and then they started to link them up to actually start looking at how those benefits, also how some measures on those benefits would contribute. So they started building this picture of the changes, the benefits, and the links, which are the contributions. So new ways of working, that project or initiative was aimed, or one of the benefits was it would reduce waste pollution. That's something that was expected of it. That would contribute to sustainability being increased, to the green objective and the planet goal. And as you can see, there's a whole network there. And they had really good fun, Josh and his friend, creating this, because they started remembering and they started making the cause and effect links. And they really got into it. And they started adding in the measures because they had to track, as part of the project or the program, quite a few measures. And you can see most of the benefits on here do have measures, but not all of them. And so they went through, put this picture together, and then started going, okay, well, let's have a look. What's contributing to efficiency? And so they started going, okay, well, that's what contributes before that. Does that make sense? That this initiative and that initiative do? Are the links right? Does the logic make sense? Brilliant. Okay, let's have a look at people. Yeah, and profit. A lot of things contribute to that, so that's really good. And then they started going, okay, well, actually, let's have a look at what does launch new brand name contribute to? And they started just understanding and picking out each initiative and what it was going to contribute to. So they tested it and improved it and spotted some gaps. Now with this map, they started going, great, okay, let's now show this, and yeah, everybody's going to absolutely love this because it's so wonderful. Now Josh is really happy. He's proud of what he's created. He feels like it's going to tick all the boxes that are challenging everybody. He's really excited. And he goes to show Vikki. And he shares it with Vikki. He takes her through it. She listens. She asks some good questions. He's thinking this is going really well. And then she says, I'm actually really concerned about this, Josh. And I'm not going to share this wider. Please don't do it anymore. Look, it's too detailed. It's too confusing. We've got a process and this doesn't fit in. Now, he's not very happy. He's really low and goes back to his desk. Pretty deflated. But he's convinced this must be the way. There must be a way of getting these benefit maps in to the process. And he tries out some other styles because he finds them and he works with some other projects. So he's had mixed success, but he is getting better and he's getting more confident in them. He revisits the complex map. He works with a key decision maker that he's close to, and he talks with that person through the map. He makes it simpler, and he thought, okay, well, let's see what we can cut off from here, cut down, because he looked through some other mapping styles and went, okay, some of them are quite simple and brief to understand. And he worked on it, worked on what should be hidden and what not. And he also went through and decided, actually, he wanted to put some more detail behind the initiatives. So he put some tasks here in part of the initiatives. So those initiatives actually had some work to do. So he went through and put those in as tasks and then trimmed down the whole story here. Now, by looking at this, it's a lot simpler and it's something which he thought was much better in terms of understandability. He gets better at walking others through it. So really he uses the map to tell a benefit story. And actually the decision maker loves it. When feeling confident enough, Josh asked the decision maker about, does it tick these 8 boxes? And they said yes. So as soon as he did that, the decision maker started sharing it with others. He said, tick, the benefits are shown. If you're talking to people, getting them to include everything, that's a tick. Are the changes shown? Yes, you're showing that alignment, you're showing the arrows, that contribution. Altogether, it shows the logic. I can see cause and effect. And actually, it's on a page, and the simplified one is just the right size. And it gives me enough context in terms of having the right info there. The right detail, yeah, we've got to be really careful. We don't want to overload things, and the map is perfect for that. Does it give clear information? Yes, there's clarity there. And there's no way that people, or there's very low risk, let's say, of people misunderstanding this map. And how it aligns to those objectives and goals is also very clear. And I love the way you can do those paths. You can really see what strategic impact each change will make. And actually, if we do this and involve people and have them comment on the maps and share them and discuss them and improve them, then that's brilliant, because everybody will feel like it represents what they need. So, not really sure about this. Josh goes, okay, let me talk to Vikki again, because she wasn't happy. Now he took her through this slimmed down map, and she'd heard good things about his work. She speaks to the decision makers and other people. There was a bit of a buzz going around that Josh was creating some clarity, and this was going to really help their processes. So she gives him some feedback and says, look, you've done a really good job. You've proved that benefit maps are easy to understand. The decision maker loves them. Other people do as well. And actually, the new style, the slim down, is much better. And by talking to them and reflecting back, it includes what the stakeholders want and actually what's needed to deliver them. So, amazing work. Thank you. Now, it's an understatement to say Josh is happy. He no longer struggles after implementing this. His business cases and proposals approved. He includes benefit maps in all of them, and people expect them. And other people in his company also use them and include them in proposals and business cases. And not just that, it helps the decision makers approve the right things. So it's helping what they approve deliver more value. Now, this is a first video in a free benefits mapping course. And if you found this valuable, please do like and subscribe and share this. And my name's Trevor Howes, and I'm really grateful for the time you've taken to go through.